the Enlightenment chasers. Royalties of Peace. We are stilling the storms back to peace that has no storm, while holding on to perfect peace. This is the 30th episode of the Golden Age podcast by Marist Free Lefang. Today is March 19th of 2025, and we are reflecting on the present administration of the USA, the United States of America, the miniature of a multicultural world. The modern miniature of a multicultural world. This is the golden age. His Excellency President Trump marked this year the commencement of the golden age. And what that means to us is accomplishing the expected goal which our forefathers of origin had planted. We cannot, at this point, be contrary. Today is Wednesday, my water day, refreshing of the mind. What are we sipping on today for refreshment? Focusing on peace, please. Let me start with the season of fire negotiation between Russia and Ukraine, which we are so glad to come to a negotiation. And USA being part of this accomplishment is very fulfilling. Yes, Ukraine was for the season of fire, but Russia was still struggling with the neutralization between the two, which to my understanding they have come to an agreement. Must we give them some time to bond, renewing of the mind, putting in mind the young generation. Who are watching us, observing how much we care for them. I'm so glad that Russia and Ukraine are trying to neutralize their bounds. It is very important to maintain unity, understanding that Ukraine is like the heart of Russia. Even though there might be the fear or anxiety over Russia increasing in power with the assistance of its heart, where economy is rich. Yet, Russia has always been the protector of Ukraine, both coming from one mother. There must be some negotiation and let history play its part positively. Now it brings us back to the United States of America, the expected light of the world. Might have started on a rough foot, but had the head placed in a place of peace, which we are today, and must be able to establish it or expect it. The roughness of the foot should not be the reflection of the mind, which we are today, of our ancestors. We must be rather the completion of their work. We should rather be the reward of their hard work. Working smart is working with lesser complications. Appreciating human dignity starts with us. While working with others, we must always self-examine. The Constitution is very powerful, but we must understand the end goal of our forefathers to execute the Constitution effectively. If we are having orders against the Constitution, then there must be a question if we didn't even understand the goal of the Constitution. White skin is not just for decoration. It is a decoding, a landmark, and proof that our forefathers did not leave us void. Handing to us the care plan, the goal too was handed. The need to reach enlightenment perfect. We are the enlightenment chasers. Reaching this perfection was not to keep the tools like a reward, but allow the tools to bring us to the place of reward, which is unseen, looking like of hope, but yet achievable. The tools looking so realistic before us than the goal. It is very obvious when walking a farm. You can visualize of the mind the end product, even though you cannot see it, but you can predict it. And the prediction is expected and fulfilled of the seed in your hand and of its growing until the tree sprouts fruits. You have not reached the harvesting achievement. Therefore, we must be able to comprehend what is harvested in a place where we are so many of multicultural beings than of just a single out culture. It's not just one culture becoming complete, but needing all to be complete. The skin tone has also expressed the need for protection, especially the white race skin tone, indicating when you're of fullness of mind, it is so hard to stay in a complicated place. Yet, your completion only comes when all are saved, and you do your best to encourage all those who are not feeling the tiredness of this work to reach their senses, where common sense comes in. His Excellency President Trump enforcing common sense and working on the Constitution could only expose those who are still not experiencing the struggles of reaching completion and needing not quit when you know fully well the holistic state of being is of all achieved and not just one. How do you join your ancestors when you know you have brothers left behind? Can there really be celebration without a brother? I am my brother's keeper. We are each other's keeper. The one against you is only a brother still, with knowledge deficit of the expected end goal, which must be educated, which is why we have schools and modernization. Evolution. What is the president emphasizing here? Of these of us, of the nations around USA in America, struggling with living in the USA, being deported, not even trying to go all the way to those who are citizens of nations outside of America. If you understand what is happening with that of within America, you would then even complete the rest of understanding. The first who came here were of the natives in search for enlightenment, expecting growth by addition, which started with one of a kind, the Western world, before the bringing in of those from Africa. And then soon there was the rush of China and others coming in for economy and building and trading. Leading to the new world of enlightenment. Now, the young today, or the very first of natives here, could be very confused of what a nation is compared to the tools that we have in the name of lands we call nations. Only a calling to the expected nation of one nation under God, of all of the world becoming one. And that only can happen of the within the mind, while the flesh gracefully gives way. We age, and it is possible we can all age out if we cease from descending others while we are ascending. This is Women History Month, and the call on women fighting for women's rights to come to agreement and understanding by the rule of this administration of what we are missing concerning the constitutions, the goal of the constitution. Being a citizen was not to keep the land, but rather using the tool to achieve the permanent citizenship of no need for a dwell, but only one, not even needing filing or a paper to identify you. Enlightenment perfect is our true identity and the only possible to walk that one world of none left behind. Coming to our understanding, the executive branch is struggling with the legislative and the judiciary. What does this mean to us? The three branches of the government, according to easyteacherworksheet.com, it explains that the executive branch of the country is headed by the president and the vice president. It implements and enforces the laws passed by the legislature. This branch of executive can also negotiate with foreign governments, though Congress must approve all treaties. The Congress comes in, the legislative, the Senate, and Congress. They are involved with approving the federal nominations. They approve the president and vice president, while under their watch, assured they can be impeached and also be enforced if agreeable. And then you have the judiciary involving the federal court system, the Supreme Court, and the various employees who can be appointed and also impeached or removed by Congress. The legislative stays the center between the two, that the executive power of the president can be sometimes hard to work with, and that should only be indicating a need to draw the people in, to reflect, meditate, and self examine where the problem is arising from. Is it just the president? Is it just the administration? Or is it coming from a misunderstanding by the people and the law of the land? Revisiting our inner sanctum is very important before we approach our head of state. If our head is struggling, then there must be a need to revisit the inner sanctum, so we do not contradict ourselves, aware of the power USA has over the world. They're supposed to be supporting and not abuse. Even a president who loses their mind cannot be abused, but humbly brought to a place, humbly be brought to a place where they can restore or remediate. There is need for respect unto each other, and it starts with how we respect our head of state, not by name, not by race, color, not by educational background. It doesn't matter whether you've studied law or business or a star or musician, a president must be respected accordingly of their stature to the country. So, what is this struggle between the executive branch and the judiciary and legislative? The judiciary and legislative together are struggling with the executive uh, branch. The deportation of the brothers from Venezuela, I might not understand what the problem is, but there is misunderstanding of our true goal of maintaining our department of work and not intervening that of others. If we have something to say, there's always a direction. There's always a protocol of how to address the situation. Sometimes we minimize our ancestors of being traditional and natives and primitive. But enlightenment never changes. The end goal never changes. When you know the end goal, you respect your ancestors like they were your immediate parent and even a future parent because it never changes. It's always the same. Divinity is always the same. Being the neighboring nations to the United States of America is one, the United States of America. America is like the body, the human body. The hand can never take the place of the legs, nor the place of the eye. USA, like the head of all of them, still respects the hand because without the hand can never achieve what they want with the hand. And the hand respects the head. Both deserve their respects. The native are more respected and given a ground of divinity. The one at work, USA, the heart, is even a subordinate to the neighboring nations. But it's like the young ones don't understand that because of how much it has. To whom more is given, more is required, is what is plain. If the neighboring nations could understand, they will remain the judge and not the prisoners. Yet, how long do they wait for the USA to build that enlightenment that should be able to reach the neighboring nations? By now, it is expected that USA should have accomplished building the glass houses and even building that of, and even enabling the mindset be fulfilled around the USA should have been able to achieve the whole America by now to fit that expected of the white mind, which the white skin carried and has been exposed in every skin color of within. Might have been hard for the others to comprehend because of their tone, but it is all that we are within the white mind. Having one presenting, could the rest be able to achieve? Must the young of the nations, the neighboring nations, be able to comprehend this and maintain their stability? But they are so frustrated because they are supposed to be in a place of wealth, and luxury, being faced with communism. Some are being forced to escape into the USA. Their cry is, work has not been done yet. Why is USA slow? Is their cry. Very well understood. But coming in the face of the USA is still disruption. There is a strategy of bringing in the cry. But if they could understand why they are under communism. I learned from Oxford Dictionary that communism is a political theory derived from Sir Karl Marx, advocating class, war, and leading to society in which all property is public owned and each person works and get paid according to their ability. That shows how divine the neighboring nations are compared to the USA. The first natives here were very disciplined, and the structure that they enabled is still permanent. And the young ones must be able to understand the difference between the second coming from the first that was first here. The first year is supposed to be the anchor, the roots of which the tree USA is upon. Communism is only indicating the true of enlightenment chasing is not to keep the land. The natives were not here to keep the land, but to reach enlightenment perfect, of living the land like a being and be in their place of enlightenment. Aging before the land was proof that they were not home. A long time of being foreigners and distinct of being and of the mind. Communism and the ability of the people. Everything is owned by the public, by the government. And you live paycheck to paycheck because you have not been able to be of matured age to understand that once you are a self, you are already given work to care for the body, and the body is the only family you have to care for, with each other, encouraging each other until you reach enlightenment of age and part with integrity and dignity and luxury. The more we multiply, the more we fall prey of communism, and which is what the United States of America is trying to avoid today. But it takes understanding the forefathers' mission on earth, which is also our mission. But we should not be contradicted because we were conceived. Only because of some not understanding. Therefore, we must not be still of that same kind of yesterday, but rather of completion after having schools. The reasoning that goes throughout the world of enlightenment chasers, of higher minds, humans, ascending, no more descending, so that we stop these disagreements and warring each other instead of making the paradise, which was the plan of America of its origin, and also of the world, representing and enabling the reflection of expected to achieve the multicultural and diverse of our minds with the inner sanctum of equality, which can be seen in the face of the United States of America of even blacks and whites equally of wealth. But having wealth is not to biologically birth, but to spiritually birth, when the spirit is the mind gaining its fullness of being, reversing the physical back to divinity, needing not the dust to dust being buried, but like of the orishas, can vanish the African spirituality. Putting all spiritualities together give us our perfection. But it takes the final of us, the young ones, reaching that ability while we watch and follow of their completion. It's time to cease biological births and establish our spirituality. Politics is spirituality. Culture is spirituality. Spirituality is the building of the mind and reaching enlightenment perfect, of none left behind. I hope this episode fulfills our journey at this time to perfect peace of none left behind. Peace stills the storm, back to peace that has no storm, holding on to perfect peace.